Chapter 1. Childhood, Bachpan. All children are pure, chaste, and innocent, the true form created by their Creator.
The taxi was going through bumpy roads. It was a white ambassador with scratches and paint worn off here and there. The seats were hard and crumbly and torn off from various places. There was an uncomfortable silence in the car. The driver turned on the radio and Akashvani news was
नमस्कार
being played.
आकाशवाणी
The
से
reporter announced on the news that the weather would change and there would be a heavy downpour for the next 12 hours. 4 people were sitting in the taxi: her mother, her father, the driver, and her. The way was too long, or so it seemed for her. She was sitting next to the window and glancing at the unknown road that the car was pacing on. She tightly clutched her favorite doll in her hand. It looked like she was scared that somebody would snatch it from her. It suddenly started to drizzle. Amina felt the urge to feel the water drop on her hands. She extended her hand outside the window to feel the raindrops on her tiny palms. Her eyes twinkled and she giggled. She looked around at her parents occasionally. Her mother looked gloomy. Her father was making great efforts to control his emotions. It looked like he was holding a lot within him. And for her, she had spent the first 6 years of her life in that house. She agonizingly rested her head on the car door and got lost in her thoughts. She lived in a massive villa with all the amenities. She was the apple of her parents' eyes and fulfilled every wish even before she desired. Her favorite place in her house was the patio, as she spent most of her time doing crafts there. She loved exploring new things and always tried making different shapes using origami. Her parents always spent time with her and motivated her to do whatever she liked. Her dad would return from work and then both her parents would do crafts with her. For a few days, she could sense some tension between them. She heard her parents quarrel frequently. She never saw them arguing, but these days she could only see them arguing, and often one of them would walk out of the room and bang the door behind them. Her house wasn't the same anymore, and there was always unrest. Amina's parents didn't spend much time with her. She felt very lonely and mostly confined herself to her room. Then one day, as she was reading a book, her parents came inside her room. She was pleasantly surprised and happy as they came to her together after a long time. They smiled at her, but she sensed that there was something wrong. Then her father held her tiny hand and she was bombarded with a piece of shocking news. They were moving out. At first, she thought they were going on a holiday for a few days. But when she saw that everything in her house was being sold off, she couldn't understand what was happening. Even her books, her sofa, her bed, everything was taken away, and she stood staring wide, teary-eyed. She absent-mindedly packed all her things in a carton and gave them to her father. Suddenly, the car stopped with a screeching sound. "Amina beta, we have reached," cried her mother. She was engrossed in her thoughts and had lost track of her surroundings. She looked at her mother with empty eyes. Finally, they had reached.